here. So this is the next installment in Stories of My Life. This is a story of low cortisol. So this is an example of one of many times when I was unable to function due to the lack of cortisol. I was out hiking by myself. It was a beautiful day. I was near the campground that I was staying at, and I had hiked these trails many times before. In fact, I've been camping at this campground since I was a child. The dogs and I were enjoying the warm weather. It was time for me to take my next dose of steroids, but I wanted to push a little bit further before I stopped to have my snack and take my pill, so I kept going. My vision started getting blurry, my stomach started hurting, and I started getting confused. One of the things that happens when I get low cortisol is that I can't navigate. So if I look at a map, it looks like a bunch of gobbledygook to me. I knew something was off, so I stopped for my snack and a pill. Then I kept walking, trying to return to my campsite. I got back to the campground and through the back trails got to what I thought was my campsite, when in fact it was the campsite I had stayed at 2 weeks earlier. I knew what the number of the campsite I was currently staying at was, so I tried again. But when my cortisol is low, I can't navigate numbers, so sequential numbers don't make sense to me. I walked for another 30 minutes and I once again ended up at the old campsite. So I kept trying this until I realized I need to take more steroids. Because my body does not produce cortisol, I have to know when I need to take more. And when you're unable to think clearly because you have low cortisol, that can be quite difficult to do. The day before, I had been on a long hike, and during that hike, I was close to where my car was when I was hit with extremely low cortisol. And I had a strong desire to just lay down in the trees and go to sleep. This would have likely led to me slipping into a coma and dying, but luckily my dog was there to signal me that I had low cortisol, and I took more medication. I was able to get to my car. So this next day, I should have started out the day with a little bit extra because of the stress of the day before. I did not. But while I was walking around the campsite trying to figure out where I was able to get reception, talk to some friends, increase my steroids, and finally find my way back to my campsite. So cortisol is a hormone that is used to regulate almost every major process in our body. When a normal person gets sick, injured, has to deal with an emergency situation, or just gets stressed, their body naturally produces more cortisol. Mine cannot do that. So I have to take hydrocortisone daily to stay alive, and extra when somebody else's body would naturally produce more. Except much of the time it's hard to know when to take more because my thought process is already foggy. Low cortisol often looks like somebody is drunk. They might appear confused, slurring words, and unable to walk or hold themselves up properly. This is why it is so helpful that my dog signals me to take more medication. I have friends that remind me to take more medication, and I have reminders all over to try and help myself to remember more. So things like post-it notes that say, do you need more? I try not to take an extra unless I absolutely have to, because the consequences for my body with also having EDS, which is a connective tissue disorder, can be pretty catastrophic. So because I have multiple health conditions, I have multiple considerations with everything that I do. There are no good decisions, only making ones that cause less harm. So that's kind of what it's like to deal with Addison's disease. Thank you.